here. Tea? Oh.
It's Bengal spice tea. It's a little spicy.
All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome. This is Playing Favorites bonus episode for the new year, for January 2021.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! And what
Pew,
better?
pew, pew, pew.
But what a better way to start the new year with a bonus episode about probably one of the best video games made in the past 10 years, that's for sure.
Decade.
Man, you want to go back and redo our decade episode now? You want to change it up a little bit?
Right? Yes, I do. After playing this game, I do.
Today, we're going to be talking about Breath of the Wild, and Paul just recently finished the game, is still playing the game, and really loves the game, and recently
finishing it.
And just recently made it his favorite Zelda game ever. His experienced the magic that is Breath of the Wild. And
such an amazing experience.
We're here to talk about it, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So to set the tone, when did you start the game? When did you get it? Like, how did it?
Oh, geez, dates. I don't know. Do you remember when I got it? It was
you visited.
It was several months ago.
Why did you come? Why? Yeah, it was like I was actually handed it to you. I gave it to you in person.
Oh, so it was still like, what was it, late summer?
Yeah, it was like probably August.
Was it August?
No,
yeah,
like September. It was September. Yeah. That was my first week. I was off the first week of September. That's when it was.
We was that when we had met up in Utica?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We got to take our picture, our socially distanced picture. We were, but yes. I have to just say, from starting it back, so it's September, until now, I feel like there's still more things for me to do. There's still a ton, and I put in a lot of time into this game. But all I can think about is every time I turn it on, it's like I have 3 or 4 things that are like on my list of things to do this time, and I only do like 1 or 2. It's always like something else is like enticing me to come back. And some of them are little things, some side quests. Others are just like, there's a spot on the map I have not been to yet. I'm just going to get there. I'm going to find a way to get there. And that's it.
Yeah.
They managed to turn this game, which broke kind of the formula of previous Zelda games, and made like the biggest, the most important mechanic about it, like the actual physics of it, and like climbing. Climbing is such an important part of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't think it would be like a fun mechanic or like it's such a chore, but it's kind of it's a challenge in and of itself.
Well, I mean, just to add my 2 cents of where I am with Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, it's not that I don't love the game by any chance, but it's been a while since I played it. I played it a few years back, so I'm definitely going to be relying on Paul for some guidance on things that happen. But like, that's the thing with this game. It's like your story is different than mine. You know, it's like we might have both beat Ganon, but how we beat Ganon, how we got there, it's never the same. It's not that cookie cutter formula of all the Zeldas in the past. I mean, really, the only other Zelda game that was like that, really, was probably the first one. I mean,
yeah, they've done an amazing job on like the current generation system to recapture that same feeling of it's dangerous to go alone. Take this, like you just appear in this world. Do you remember the first time you played the original Legend of Zelda? Do you remember that like first playthrough?
It's
I've like some glimpses of it.
But like my first playthrough, I wasn't alone. I think that's the biggest thing. You had like someone older that was kind of with you. You know,
your guide, yes, your old man, right?
Well, more like a cousin, or like I didn't have a brother, so like I mean, like I had at the time, so like I would go to cousins' houses or like friends' houses and like almost like watch them play and learn where to go, and then like talk to them, and then eventually you get like enough tools and understanding that you can kind of then go out and do your own. Like you need that extra hand holding, from the other friend or something that, I feel like Breath of the Wild took that, but they gave it a little bit of the hand holding in the game itself, because that you had that introductory plateau, or I call it Tutorial Island.
That was very apt. I mean, it is exactly that. It's like here, learn some important stuff about the game before you go out there, because you'll probably die out there really quickly if you don't. So,
But even though you have that kind of beginning part, I mean, I feel you're continuously learning things about the game as you go through it. I mean, that's like kind of the magic of it. It's like the second you're kind of thrown into the world, it's like, oh, okay, like I can go wherever. Okay, that's neat. Like I almost found that was a little overwhelming, so I didn't explore as much as maybe I wanted to. And this is, I think, where I didn't get the same experience as a lot of people with this game because I was playing it for my daughter, so like I was kind of like constantly just attached to going on the storied path, and like
oh, so
I didn't explore too much. Like I did, but it's not like I wonder what my experience would be if I played this game all the way through with an actual Switch, not on the Wii U. Like
gotcha.
that's the one thing. Like that's a question I had for you. Is like, did you? I know you're still playing it. Do you mostly play it handheld because you want to hold it around for a while and just do a couple things and then put it down, or do you play it on TV all the time?
I played, I'd say the majority of the time, probably like 85, 90% handheld, which isn't, whenever I would put it on the big screen, I'm like, wow, like this is still so beautiful to look at, and it's great on the big screen. There's something about it, I don't know, it feels right playing it on the small screen, on just like the handheld version. I, for me, it was like I just wanted something, yeah, that I could pick up at any time, because I was very addicted to this in the beginning. So it'd be like, I'm gonna go downstairs and grab some things from the basement, and I'll just pick it up and play it for 10 minutes really quickly,
Hmm.
then put it down, and then go back and do something else. And yes, I needed it like near me at all times.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's such a. I feel like that helps that game add even more magic to it. Like the game itself is great from what my experience of it too, but you got to think I had a different workflow. I play on the Wii U. If I'm turning the Wii U off, I had to make sure I'd saved it, make sure I turned it off, and then I
oh
have to
man,
reload it up, and then I have to like I couldn't just like hop in and out like you would on the Switch. And
oh, it's so
I
great.
kind of wish I bought it for the Switch to try it again, but I feel like I just had already like had my time with it. You know, it's like I didn't really want to dive back in, and now you're making me guilt. You make me want to,
You
and
better. You better. Yes, like I feel like I've been proclaiming this from the mountaintops, like how excited I am about this game, just how fun it is. I, I know we're going to go through a lot of things. We're going to kind of like break down what like really makes this such a special game. But right from the get go, I think you had mentioned it when we were talking off off mic, just about like the physics of the game itself and all the crazy things that, as you said, people can do in the
hmm
game, like just manipulating the environment. But we really, I think we might have talked about this in our Zelda episode. We really keyed into that idea of like you cut down a tree, but it doesn't get any more complicated than that. Like the tree loses all of its branches, it just becomes a long log. You could push that log, or you could hit it again, and then it turns into a nicely tied bundle of sticks. It's like everything in the world can be broken down to certain elements, and
yes,
then those elements can be combined again to make other things.
yeah, like
It's
that's the thing. Like you know, with a lot of the other developers like that aren't Nintendo, because a lot of the other developments like, okay, we're going to make this game have a crazy physics. They almost go too far to the point where it's not fun.
yeah,
And where Zelda, it's like the physics make sense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna roll the ball down the hill to blow up the Moblin base. It's
yep,
like it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. It's like that's
yep.
the physics makes sense. It all makes sense.
And it
And
might miss, and you just got to deal with the fact that it missed. You know,
yeah,
it's like a lot of times it's just trial and error. Like you push something down a hill, and like, oh, it would have been great if I pushed it that way. Oh
yeah,
well.
yep.
Like I'll try it. I'll try it from the other side.
Well, you just gotta
Like,
wait for the blood moon to come to reawaken the monsters and try it again.
which I think is such a great idea. I know that there must be some. Um, there's something about the blood moon. I feel like is like the game fixing itself, or like almost like ironing itself out as you play, or loading, or there's some other function that the blood moon,
Oh, to
you
help
know.
with like the development of it, like the actual like coding and stuff like that.
I think so. Like the actual like loading of the game, and just to prevent it from like glitching, or to prevent errors, like having that, I feel is really really cool, because there are just random enemies here and there, but like the little like enemy bases, whatever they call them. I don't know what they, like
They're
their little like
camps.
treetop things. Their
Yeah.
little. There's a wide variety of ways that you can attack them, and like usually there's a variety of enemies. What I love about it is even though like I might have cleared out one of them before, when I see it again and there's enemies there, I don't feel like, oh well, I already did that. Like I don't have to do that.
No, you do it again.
It's more like I want to do it again, but I want to do it with a new thing I learned. Like I want to try it this way. I want to try, lighting a fire, shooting up with a paraglider, and dropping down on a moblin, or dropping down onto, like start up at the very top, and then like roll a explosive barrel down the hill towards them, and then shoot it with a fire arrow at the right time. And then it starts raining, and then your fire arrow goes out, and your bomb arrows diffuse, and they don't work. Like it's great. Like all the elements of the game, the weather itself, and just like the different areas of the game and the environments, and how you have to like prepare yourself for them. Justin. Whereas in Ocarina of Time, it kind of felt like a chore changing into like the red tunic, the blue tunic, back to the green tunic.
I mean,
or like
it is a
the
chore, but when the game came out, it like I guess you didn't. When that game, when you first played that game, it didn't feel like a chore because it was so new and fresh.
Of course.
But
I shouldn't look back on it and judge it with 2021 eyes.
Obviously, everyone hates the water temple of Ocarina of Time. It's
okay. Come on. All right. Not that bad. You've tackled harder temples since then. Believe me.
Well, that's why people didn't like it, is because you had to keep putting the boots on. So it's not like you're wrong. But
I'm just picturing Link like, God damn it, I gotta sit down and take off my boots again.
So
put on another pair of boots.
I mean, there's so many like little stories and little moments in that game. It's like people don't really, like, a lot of people don't even know what to do with things sometimes. Like I was talking to a coworker at work, and she didn't know games that well, and she's like, I found these like seeds. What do I do with them? I'm like, you'll find it. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. Like you'll
run into him. Don't worry, and his maracas.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just like when you actually do run into it, like, and you can miss them. It's possible, It's like you can get them. I know people that would play the game for a long time and not even get a horse because they just didn't like take a left or.
Heard. My nephew was like, he's like, in this playthrough, I'm gonna get a horse. Like I got a horse already, and I was like, you don't have a stable full of horses already? I was flabbergasted that he played the whole game through without a horse, which is fine. Because I gotta tell you, sometimes I don't want the horse. You know what I mean? There are some times where I'm like, I'll just do this myself.
Well, sometimes it's a bad having a horse. So I was waiting for this moment. I brought this up on purpose because this is my favorite story. It's a sad story.
Okay.
It's a very sad
Please.
story.
Oh, no.
It's a sad story.
All right. Tell me your
well,
sad
I mean, the thing with a horse though, like, there was always these like situations where I'm like trying to use the horse. Like I think there was a point where I was trying to get the Zora Temple, and you're trying to walk up these like rainy mountains, and the horse just like wouldn't move very well. It's like he kept falling down, or the path was too narrow. But whatever. I mean, I would just leave him by himself and just like, okay, I guess I'll find you later. See you later, horsey.
Bye, Dennis.
But there was this one moment, and like this is like the most magical sad moment I had with the game, which is it's sad that it's sad, but like. So I was just playing the game. I don't know. I was probably just exploring the wilderness, and I was trying to fight this monster. And I think something happened where it could charge at me, and I was near a cliff, and it hit me off the cliff into a river with the horse. So the horse is with me in this river, but it's like in like a canyon. So like there's like nowhere to go, and although the horse just is like. All it is trying to do is trying to find like a land. So I'm like staying with my horse, just like keeping him company. And like eventually, but eventually there's like, it just happens this river has like a little middle island of land. So we get up there, but he won't leave the land now. He's just stuck on the land. So my logic was I'm going to hit the horse with my stick or sword to hit him into the water again. Because he'll keep, and I'm hitting him in the water down the river to get to the next island of land. So I'm like, oh, this is working. I'm gonna save the horse because I didn't want to lose the horse. He was my first horse. So I'm like, all right, I get it. And then I like go on down the river, hitting him with a sword. He's obviously in pain, but I'm just trying to save him. And I get to the one last island, and I just had a little bit to go, and I hit him, and he dies.
Um, yep, yep. Could see how this story was ending as soon as you said. I took out a stick and started hitting.
And I literally like I looked at Amber, I'm like,
Poor
I
horse.
look at Amber, I'm so sad. I killed my horse. Little did I know, this is not something I knew at this point. I was playing the game later, and I go to the stable. It's like I see a little button. It's like, call your horse here. I'm like, are you serious? You could just
Yeah,
call your horse and save it. I didn't have to
I
do all
learned
that.
that. Dude, yeah, I learned that one the hard way
But
too.
like,
I was trying so hard to get a horse out of. I had gotten him into this spot near the Gerudo Desert, and I couldn't get him out. I didn't need him anymore, and I was like, "What do I do with you, Dennis?" Because the first horse I got, I named Dennis, and I was like, what do I do with you?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude. I'll come back." And I felt bad, and he would show up on the map. You know, I'd see him on the map and be like, "There's Dennis." I'm like, "Not going back for you, buddy." And then, like, I don't know. Later on, I went to maybe to register a new horse, and then it's like, "Do you want to take out a horse?" And then Dennis was an option, and it was like, "Oh, you can recall Dennis back here."
mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh man, sorry, Dennis.
Just
He's been just like waiting in the desert."
in the heat of the moment, I tried. I literally spent. I had to say, like, that whole thing was like 15 minutes long. Like, I was
Of
literally like,
course,
it was like a little,
saga.
but like, here's the thing. Like, that is the beauty of this game. Is like it kind of creates moments of just your own choice. Like, you can kind of say, like, well, this is my mission right now. This is my quest. Like,
Yep,
it wasn't the game's like, oh, your horse fell down the river, go chase it. Like, it's like I just happened to fall down the river. I'm like, I need to save my horse. Like, I
yep.
can't let my horse die.
I've jumped off cliffs for rubies. You know, like if something like valuable fell off of them, I'm like, "Fuck it, I can climb back up," and I'll just jump for it because the amazing physics in this shit rolls a lot, man. Stuff
Hmm.
starts rolling down the hill. It's like you got to get it. Um,
How do
did
rubies
you by
roll?
any chance? What's up?
How do rubies roll? Really though, they're not really, but they're not kind of. I mean, they can roll inside, I guess, but they're
I
not like
guess
rounded. You know, I feel they'd slow down.
all that stuff is. Well, it was pretty steep cliff though. I mean, it was
Okay.
anyway. And literally, the choice was like me, like facing over a precipice. It's like, fuck it, I'll go get it, and I got it. Like, what's great is that like it was at the bottom of this rather large cliff, and I managed to find it, get it. Now, my question for you is: first, did you find all the great fairies? And second, did you find the horse god?
No, no, and no. There's a lot of things I
Okay.
didn't find all of. I
Don't
want
go and find the horse god because he'll be pissed at you because you killed a horse.
really.
Yeah, because when I found him, it was like a fairy fountain, and I was like, "Cool, like another fairy," and it was this horse god instead, saying like, it was like, "Ha ha ha! Now, if you had hurt a horse intentionally, I would, I'd be very mad." And then it goes, "Ha ha!" But I kid. Uh, but he has the power. Like I didn't know what it was for. It doesn't like enhance your clothes or anything. The horse god or whatever it is will bring back a horse from the dead, but it
Oh,
has to be a horse that you did not murder.
oh, so I couldn't
So
bring back whatever I named my horse.
no, you couldn't bring back cotton candy. I I did, however, lose a horse in a fight. Like it got zapped by a guardian, and I think that was Aggro. I named the horse Aggro.
Nice.
After, Aggro died a horrific death, and like I was very distraught about it because I was trying to get away, and it was literally like I was running towards the horse, and the laser blast hit, and he was just in the way. I didn't mean for it to happen, but
That's the
the
story.
fairies in this, the great fairies, I think are by far the best great fairies.
Yes.
And the way that the actual fairies itself, the item, a fairy, I think is great. Let me first tell you, like, let's talk about the great fairies. First of all, drop dead gorgeous, sexy as all hell. I love these giant women, these enormous women. It's really funny, and I love the animation for whenever he enhances clothing up until like the highest level. I think at the last one, she just like grabs him and takes him underwater with her, and
Yeah,
then he like
I never
comes
got
out
that. I
like,
never got that far.
oh. So
Yeah,
what
you must.
about like where she plants a giant kiss on him?
I know that part.
It's the one like right after that. If you enhance the clothes again, I think there might be. I think that's it. I think that's the last animation for
Oh
him.
man, you make. I
But
know I missed so much in this game. This is the sad thing. Like I played this game a lot too. But you're right. There is so many freaking things in this game that
yep.
I just didn't get the opportunity to do, or I just was busy. It's just the timing when I got this game was the worst time for me to play it. I should have waited, but oh well.
I saved like a lot of like the more like the fighting challenges for later. That's what I've been kind of doing now is going after like Lionels and Hinoxes, like the big ogre things. And the Lionels are scary as hell, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Fighting them, but then I figured like I don't know on a like a on accident, I shot an arrow at its face, and it gave me the option to mount it on the back, like you jump on its back and then you hit it.
Oh wow.
That's so much easier.
Oh, I've done that
Um,
before. I've done that before, and it's funny.
yeah,
You're like
I didn't know you could do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's
did.
like bucking around and stuff and crazy. But I finally did like the Coliseum, which I had been like afraid of since the very beginning of the game because I stumbled upon it like really early, like maybe right off of getting off of the plateau, like and I saw that Lionel for the first time and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was huge and it like looked right at me and its little exclamation point was going up and I was like, fuck this. And I just ran. I ran. And when I looked it up, it was like, oh, your fears were confirmed. That thing will destroy you. You are not ready yet. Like, you're nowhere near ready. Um, but one of my favorite items is the fairy, only because it's unremarkable. All it does is really bring you back from the dead. It doesn't fill up your life, you know? And it's really hard to find them. Like, you have to be very careful, sneaky to get
Yep.
them. Makes it like a real commodity. Like, the way that you get ingredients and
But
items in
it's
this.
okay. You can make so much food. You don't need fairies.
This is true.
Like
Fairies aren't going to give you extra yellow
literally,
hearts too.
you're holding like platters of food in your pocket, and you're on a you're holding but you're holding on a mountain. You're like, oh, you know what? I can't make this mountain. Hold on. Let me get my steak. Let me
Yeah,
let me eat some
I'm
steak.
going to eat this quick mushroom and steak skewer I made a couple days ago.
You think that would
I
make
feel
it?
boosted,
You think that make it hard to get up the mountain? It's like, oh god,
right?
I'm heavier.
Not for this guy.
Link does not
No,
go to
like
the bathroom in this game at all. Like, I mean, I don't know where all this food is going.
I never even thought about that. I do like the variety of recipes that you can make. I've managed to make crepes, an apple pie,
Yeah.
just like seafood paella. I think is one you do for like a little side quest. It's like and it's not like they're any more remarkable than the others. Like they all just like restore hearts or give you some little buff or perk, but nothing like they. It's just like, oh, you made an apple pie. It restores 4 hearts. Cool. Like that's it.
I
Like
like the music. That's the only thing that makes me happy. Is the music is great. Like it's when you make a great recipe. It's wonderful. You know, it's like I
and the
love.
music kind of keys you in. Like it gets like more and more
Well,
excited
that's
as
what
it
I would just
finishes.
sit there for like I would say 10 minutes, like just making food, just like
It's cooking.
just cooking
Yep.
the stuff, like trying to find that potion, putting some monster parts in there sometime. It's like I love that mechanic. The only thing I didn't like is how you have to like I guess put it in the pot. It's like you got to go to the
Yeah.
menu and then you have to make him hold it and then throw them in. It's like I think they could have fine tuned that a little bit, but like
I don't.
I
I don't.
can't complain.
You know why? Because it's a function that's beyond just cooking, right? So like when you're at a cook pot, like in a town or something, I would just take a piece of steak or like when you're at the what is it, the stables. Um, if I'm cooking or if I'm just there, I just on habit, I always give the dog there a steak. Like I just can't. Every time I take one of my horses out, I give them an apple. Like or if they do something like, oh, like we got through that really tough part, I get off and I give them an apple, and then I get back on and I soothe them.
Hmm.
Like I treat my animals very nicely. I love that you can, and I just hope that in the next Breath of the Wild or like the sequel here, that they just let you pet the dogs. Can we just pet the dog? I really just want to pet the
Do
dog.
you follow that Twitter account by any chance? There's like a Twitter
What?
account. It's a Twitter account. It's like it's literally a Twitter account about telling you whether or not you can pet dogs in video games. That's the whole
Really?
premise of the account. Yeah, it's like it's like it'll just like show pictures like you cannot pet the dog in this game. You can pet the dog
Oh
in
my
this game. That's the whole point of the Twitter account. It's really kind of funny.
god.
I love it.
I need to check this out.
I got I
Uh,
literally think it's just like can you pet the dog?
can
That's
you
like
pet the dog?
I'll look it up. Um, but no,
But I love like that's like and like taking like sticks or something and then like dropping a piece of flint and then hitting it with your sword to make a little bonfire. Like I know it's not like as smooth as maybe you'd want, and maybe hey maybe they'll refine it for the sequel. But I can kind of see where what your gripe is. Not really a
it's
complaint,
not
more just
no,
like
it's just looking
could be a
back at
little
it.
bit smoother.
Yeah,
But
that's it. Like it was just more just like oh I missed the pot. Like I mean it was really more my own
oh, you missed the
inability.
pot.
It's like or I like what I didn't like is that I would grab like all these food and I'm like oh damn I didn't want 3 apples I wanted only 2 apples and I would have to undo everything and then put it at I was just like ah. But but just to segue away from cooking and all that stuff, like I just want to talk about one thing about the game that I really truly loved is, and I'm surprised, and I think you probably agree with me on this. It's just the map itself, like in exploring the map and exposing the map. Like that was my whole true goal. Like I felt like once I
Yep.
exposed it, I'm like I beat the game.
But you got all the towers.
Yeah, like I just love. I mean, we both are big fans of it. I mean, granted, it's not like a new mechanic by any means. I mean, we've done
Yeah, it's
Assassin's
an
Creed,
Assassin's Creed. Yeah,
but like
synchronizing.
it wasn't. But what makes it more special than Assassin's Creed? Assassin's Creed is literally just exposing this little block of thing, and there's a bunch of streets and houses. It's not that exciting. The map is
Yep.
gorgeous. The map is interesting, and the map is awesome. And then just the map alone makes you want to like, oh, I want to check that. Oh, there's a little forest
Yep.
over there. I want to check that. Oh, what's that little maze thing over there? I want to check that.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this game. I don't think if you had them, I don't think that if the map did not exist, you wouldn't be as much of an explorer. You're like, oh, okay, there's a because it is very, I wouldn't say samey, but without the map as guidance, you wouldn't. There would be no reason to maybe want like, well, what's under that mountain? I don't want to go.
There are, yeah, dude. There are a lot of like um, subtle things on the map itself that make you interested. So there's like little like rock formations, like tiny little patterns, or something that looks odd that doesn't belong with whatever else is around it.
Hmm.
And you're like, I wonder what that is. Like, why is there a pond on top of this mountain? And that's how you found like the hot spring. Like what is this like little thing of water? It looks like at the
Yep.
top of these like these
Just a
cool
a
mountains.
little bit of an open area inside of a forest. Like, why is that there?
Yep.
Like it's just like I would. That was one thing I loved doing. I wish I did it more. Was like I would like every time I would explore an area. Like, say I found a cook pot, I'd go in the map and put a little cook little stamp right in that area.
Yep. I
Or
got used to doing that. At
eventually I
first, I was
stopped
like,
doing it
why do
though.
I need to do this?
Yeah, but it's like
But I
if
got privy to that.
if there was like a monster that was really bad, like hard, I would like put a little reminder that I need to go back to this
Yep.
area and check it out. But I
Little
loved
sword, little skull.
I loved all that stuff. I mean, there's so many like fun little moments. But I think really the one thing we're not talking about is honestly, I really like the story. Like I was actually, it's not very in depth. It's not very deep, but like I really liked having voice acting in Zelda. Like I
Oh,
just,
I absolutely agree with you there. Like it finally felt like a rich Zelda game that I didn't. Not that I have a problem like coming up with a voice as I read it, like it's just like reading a book. But there's something about, especially like the different races, like hearing that voice that you kind of already knew, like what a Goron sounded like.
hmm
You kind of knew what a Gerudo or even a Ruto sounded like, you know, without even hearing them. But just getting that kind of like, and also it kind of like makes the champions more interesting because
hmm
you get to see their interactions and like what they used to be and how they got to where they are now. And yeah, I like that the story is kind of like, yeah, most of this already happened. You're just finishing it, and you're
yep,
finishing it like 100 years late.
yep,
It's like so that whole like the what is it, the princess's memories, like the photo
That
memories
was
that you do.
that's like one of my favorite things. I was trying to find memories and try to line up the
Yeah.
photo, and
Oh my
that
god.
stuff was great.
I'd like study those photos, and then when I get close to a place, I'd be like I think, is this it? And then like you're trying to just like line it up to get
Yep.
it, and when you see like the little like ring or whatever for Link to walk into, it's
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
found that spot.
See, that's what made me really enjoy this game was when I say story, I don't mean like the story of Link in the 100 years later. It's just like the lore that's like littered
Yep,
around. You know,
yep,
it's like I love meeting the characters from. I love how they have characters that were still alive from 100 years ago. You have Impa and all of that to kind of make connections. But
sure.
like, I just like it had like a really good sense of place first, like unlike any other Zelda game. Like it just felt like this was a lived-in world, very barren. It's kind of struggling a little bit because of the calamity. I mean, obviously there's little small pockets of civilization,
Sure.
but like I guess it blew my expectations because I mean, granted, you're paying this game a lot later, but I follow this game as it got close to release, like a lot. Like I was kind of like I've always been excited for Zelda games for every release, and honestly, I had very low expectations for this game, extremely
Really?
low expectations. It just didn't look right to me. Like whenever time they would show it at like an E3 or a Nintendo Direct, like it just didn't look right. It didn't look filled or it looked boring kind of to me.
Oh,
And
it,
I think they just weren't showing the magic whenever they showed it. They were just showing like him on a horse killing monsters. It's like they weren't showing the beauty. You know what? I'm glad they never did.
yes. No, I agree. If people knew, or like it's so hard to kind of to explain that to somebody. It really is like an experience. It's more than a game to me. And I feel like not just to me, but like to the people who played it, it is like you're playing an experience. You're not just playing a Zelda game. I'm going to be able to turn it off, and it's just like another Zelda game. This is unlike any other Zelda game, but then again, so much like every other Zelda game at the same time.
Yep.
Filled with lots of the things that you've been able to do in the past, but like coupled with this amazing open world with a huge, which is great on the Switch. Just seeing the draw distance, like how far you can actually see
Mm.
from like and like how quickly you can like things load up from like okay, I'm just paragliding off of a mountain to another mountain, and just like the utter beauty of this world, even this world that's like plagued and partially destroyed. Just being able to move around and choose for yourself like the way you want to go about it. You can't really like show that in a trailer. You can't really show
Yep.
that in previews or just like gameplay demos. It's about like actually playing it and it getting inside your head just as much as you like trying to like play it and
It
win. It's
and
it's
don't get me
getting
wrong.
into
Like
you.
the when they got close to release, like the trailers they were giving did get me excited. It's just
Mhm.
gameplay never did. It's anytime they saw me gameplay was what really kind of turned me off. But like oh, I like the art style. I like the little trailers they're doing. The kind of like the because I think the trailers were all about like, being a calamity and the 100 years later kind of a thing. Like
Yep.
and hearing the voice acting like got me kind of excited too. And but like I'm surprised on how filled the world is and how barren it is at the same time. It's really
Yeah.
kind of this weird balance of like there's so much stuff here, but also at the same time there's like nothing. So it's like it's interesting. Like I don't know, I love
I,
it.
I feel like every step that you can take in that world, somebody on the development team, somebody making this game took that step too and decide and like said like it'd be cool if there was this here. It'd be cool if there was something here. It'd
Hmm.
be cool if there was nothing here, but over here there should be something that will draw your eye. A tree on its own next to a cliff. And then you go over, the tree's got fruit in it, but underneath it is a shrine, like on the other side of the cliff. These little like visual clues that
Yep.
just like tap into people's natural curiosity.
Hmm.
That's what I love about it. Is like I feel like I can just turn it on and just start doing something and I will just naturally find something to do. Like I'll just get, curious about, oh, well, what's over here? I haven't been over here in a while. Maybe let me try doing
and
this.
we joked about this in our favorite Zelda game a little bit, but like the first game is like, okay, go in that cave. Well, that's the reason Miyamoto made Zelda, because he liked
Yep.
exploring caves. Like that
Yeah,
was the reason for it. It's
it's
like,
his childhood.
and
Yeah.
like it's like this sort of like emphasizes it relates to that so much more, but they modernize the development, and it's just amazing, like how I don't know, I can't even say it anymore. You've already said it better than I could, but like
I don't think they can make another open world game that's not like this. You know what I mean? Like I feel like even games like The Witcher that are just packed with side quests and what is it like the what's that other series? God damn it, Dragon Age.
no, I'll just
Hell,
like
no.
Skyrim.
Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls. No, you're right. Elder Scrolls. That like have a ton of side quests and things for you to do. It makes them feel like so primitive though compared to this. This feels so organic. Like things just lead into each other, and there's no pressure to do anything.
Yeah,
Like I was way over, like not way overpowered, but I was pretty like I just kept putting off fighting Ganon because I was like, I don't want this to end. I don't want to see what happens next. I just want to keep doing
the
this.
ending is great
And
though. I'm gonna say that.
when I went and fought Ganon, like yeah, it was good. Was it a remarkable boss fight? It was okay. It wasn't like the greatest Ganon fight I've ever fought. It was fun. It was fine. I did it. And then I just went right back to playing the game like I was before. Like I was like, yep, okay, I did it. The ending is great. Yes, the cinematic and seeing how the story plays out. Of course, I wanted to know how it ended, or at least where it ends for
I
them.
I don't know if I'm just being more nostalgic as I get older, but I cried at the end. I don't know why. Like I
Uh,
think the music always gets me. The music always gets me. Like I remember, like, and again, like I was watching with my daughter, so a lot of these games, like I think when I watch things with my kids, and I play something, and it's like something that's like important for my childhood, like I'll get more emotional because I'm just like I'm sharing it with somebody that I want to like the same, like I want to like share things with.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it wasn't like, I don't think the boss fight in the on the bottom level, like where you're like fighting them in the castle, that was okay. But I meant like more when you're on the horse and you're kind of going around,
Oh yeah,
and
that was pretty cool.
that
Yeah,
was awesome because that gave me kind of like memories of Zelda helping you in Wind Waker, because she's like
yeah.
kind of like throwing the light and doing the blocks and like,
Yep, shooting the
and
light arrows.
I just the visuals in the end too with her, like I guess wearing the white dress and like just was really really like, I don't know, I just was it was just gorgeous to me, just the way they ended that game.
And like now that I think about it, like a lot, like the theme of the game was Zelda trying to find her power and not really understanding like how, like everybody else seemed to be falling into place and she didn't really have a place. And, like the game, it really is like about empowerment, and it's about like empowering the player, and like you see like Zelda coming into her own, like in that last memory. How she finally finds, like her power is awakened when she has to defend something that she truly cares about. Like when the moment is there, like at the last possible second, that's when her
Hmm.
power manifests
And
itself.
it's interesting you bring that up because I mean I've been going through the Calamity lately myself,
Really.
because I'm playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Oh yes.
I am not too far into it, so I can't say too much. But like that, they those themes you're mentioning are kind of even carried over, and
Oh
like the
good.
where Zelda's like can't do what she needs to do. I'm trying to understand if this is because like Age of Calamity is interesting because it's not made by Nintendo. Obviously, the voice actors are all the same.
Mhm.
The history is the same, but I'm wondering if it's the same timeline still. I have to figure out the end, because
Oh really?
it's something to do with time travel and her knowing what's going to end up happening and preventing it and all this
Oh,
stuff.
I did play a little bit of it. I played like maybe half an hour of the game, and that little egg guardian that comes back in time,
Hmm.
right,
Yeah,
to like warn them about it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
But
I
she
don't know.
was collecting things for a reason. I mean, they obviously knew something bad was happening, and they don't really
Mhm.
they don't talk about that in the actual Breath of the Wild game. But
Yeah,
they do carry that over into the Hyrule Warrior game, which I was actually playing a little bit tonight, and it's still fun. It's a good time. I mean, I like it.
yeah.
I like how
course.
they're fleshing out that world just in general. I like that world of Zelda, like because there's so many different ones, right? But I really like how that's like the best representation of Hyrule,
Yeah,
the best looking
so
Hyrule.
awesome.
I mean,
Yep.
just I mean, because the graphics like in itself are beautiful and gorgeous, but they're not anything new or crazy or like they're not like just like the greatest graphics you're ever gonna find. Like look so realistic, but that doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
artistically beautiful and gorgeous, and the moments that happen in it are I mean, there's just so many different gorgeous shots. You just want to stop for a second and just
Yes.
like soak it
Yes.
in, right? It's like,
Meticulously put together, right? Like I think about the time I first went to like Zora's Domain, and like you're walking up this like grand staircase to go up to the King of the Zoras, right?
mhm,
And you're like walking up the staircase, and just to give you like a sense of scale, all of a sudden you see like, oh, this is an enormous staircase because it kind of like joins with another one, and it becomes this huge,
yeah,
and like opening up into a palace. It's like this is like the palace of a king. Like this is what it would look like, and those are the kinds of memories that really stick with me. Like the other one was the uh, Gerudo town when you're actually able to get into the town and just seeing like their irrigation kind of system, like the water flowing around the temple,
mhm,
and the Ruto, like they're basically like that was like Lothlorien from Lord of the Rings, from Fellowship of the Rings. Like you're just kind of like walking in a forest, crossing a bridge, and then there's a clump of trees, and then like there it is, like
yeah,
there is the heart of Ruto, like of Ruto kind.
mhm,
Um, but anyway, like Zelda being empowered in this game is also like about you, the player, being empowered to do whatever the hell you want to do. Like you don't have to. You can go and try and fight Ganon right from the beginning. You can go get a stick and try to get up there.
you
I
can't be,
think you can.
you can't be evil though. You have to be your hero still.
Well, sure,
I'm joking.
but
Um,
or you can just choose to, and like whatever order you choose to do the guardians, right? To do the divine beasts.
it
What
does.
was your order, by the way? Do you remember
Um,
what order you took them?
it was Zora because
The
I feel like
elephant, yes.
I feel like that's like sort of like the recommended because they kind of guide you that way, right? The story is like
Yep.
we'll go see Impa. The Zoras are right around here, and then I just went north from there. So I went to Gerudo, and then not Gerudo, uh, Death Mountain,
Death Mountain. Yeah. Yeah.
and then after that I wanted to go to the desert because I really wanted to see the Gerudo because I knew that's where they were, but I struggled with the camel.
Yeah.
I could not beat the final boss. Like I was just like I can't do this thing. I kept dying like over and over and over again. I'd get all these potions, but I just wasn't leveled enough yet. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right,
He's a little tough.
I'll go to the Rudo, I guess. I'll focus on getting the Master Sword. I'll do all the other stuff. And I did all that and went back and I was able to beat the he's still a little hard even when I went back, but I was like prepared, had all this like electrical like buffers and like all these things stuff. Cause oh
30
god, like
day supply of food.
oh man, he just I don't know what it was. Like I just could not figure him out because like the electricity just killed me. Because I was
Mhm.
just like I hated the electricity. All the other boss fights weren't that bad. Um, and as far as like beating the temples, mostly they weren't too bad. I think I looked up a guide once or twice for the temples because I was stuck.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm
Yep.
not gonna wait around to figure this out. But they were
No,
fun.
I did that for the camel. I looked up
Yeah,
something like I couldn't. There was just one of the switches I couldn't get to, one of the
yeah. I
consoles,
think that was the same thing for me with the camel. But
and I was
I
like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over this. Just how do I
that's
get that?
that's the one thing I think like that like I that really kind of I guess if I wanted to make some complaints about the game, and I don't want to sit there and make tons of complaints, or maybe a better way to say
Sure.
it is preferences. Like
Okay.
I do like the formulaic Zelda a lot. I like having the characteristically Zelda temples like have personality, and I feel like we
Okay.
didn't really truly get that as much in this game. Like the world itself is that, which is great, but there is a part of me that like kind of wishes the shrines had a little bit more I guess personality to them versus it kind of got repetitive to me. It's like, okay, I beat the shrine, I get this crazy guy giving me an orb
Yep.
every single time, and it's like I just kind of wanted that to be at least make it like a different color or something, like just like to kind of freshen it up a little bit. Like that's the only thing I would say I would want more in this world is like, oh, an actual like legit, like even if they had like one of those, just to say, okay, you know, I know everyone loves Zelda. You all like those the actual legit dungeons. Like just put like
Yeah.
one of those in the game and let me go through a dungeon. It would with a crazy boss at the end. Like I mean, because I kind of do miss those. I mean, that's the only thing I'll say.
I do. I understand that. It's like those big bosses are just out in the world, though. Like the Lionels and the Hinoxes. Like you can just find them and fight them.
I know, but I like going
But I
through.
will.
I like the map. I like getting to the map and trying to figure out each room, and like I just like it's like a little
Sure.
mini puzzle. Where in this game, all the puzzles were just kind of scattered around. I like that kind of like contained puzzle a little bit. Like they, you know,
I did like the mazes a whole lot. I really enjoyed doing the mazes. They were like simultaneously like cool and scary all at the same time.
yeah, yeah, I like the
But
mazes a lot. They were good.
I can hear I hear what you're saying in terms of like you're missing that kind of old fashioned. And hey, maybe that'll be in the next one. Maybe
Hmm.
they'll have a few of those. The only thing about the shrines, like I really just looked at the shrines as like a means to an end. I was like, I just got to get here, get the orb because I just want to get another heart container. I want to get more
Yep.
stamina. I was just very much goal
I
driven.
mean, some of them
Uh,
weren't bad. I actually liked some of the puzzles in the shrines. It wasn't. It's just like after you did your like 50th or 60th,
yeah,
it's like okay, well, there's still 120 of these. Like, well, overall there's 120, but like, I guess that's the only thing I'd ask is more variety there.
sure,
But that's such a that's such a small little gripe that I have with the
okay.
game.
Well, I'm gonna take this idea of yours. I'm gonna expand on it a little bit. If I had to say like what was my biggest gripe or complaint or thing that I wish was different about the game is I'd say it's the swimming mechanic. Like the swimming, the stamina is fine. I wish you could just go underwater. I feel
Mm.
like that would be like even if
Instead of
it's
you
like the iron boots kind of situation.
instead of using the
Um,
magnet to get things.
I don't mind. Like I love using the giant magnet. That's fine. It's not more about like I just envision you could probably do more with underwater stuff. I really love doing some like seafaring, some exploration. Like I love that there's rafts periodically just anchored places, and you can take them and get a leaf and just take it for a ride and go
I know.
see
I
something.
love when I figure that out too with the leaf. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yep. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this leaf? And then it made like a giant wind gust, and I was like, maybe. Yeah, great stuff. But yeah, I'd like to see more. Maybe they'll do some more of it in the next game, but something along the lines of like underwater exploration a little bit more, or a little bit more seafaring. They should just make uh like a Wind Waker style game in this form, and just like have it be sea and island exploration. That would be amazing.
They would.
But hey, even if they kept the same map and just like made something different about it, or it's like Hyrule 10 years later, I'm sure it'll be really fun.
No,
Now
it's. Go ahead.
it's
Sorry.
oh what? Do you know something?
No, I was just saying it's good. I wasn't gonna say anything. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, my question for you is, what was your favorite fight in this game? Your
Fight.
favorite battle?
I don't know. Um, I don't remember the fights that much, to be quite honest. I mean, like, that's
It's
the thing.
rare. Like, yeah, there's a lot of fighting in this, but not any that are like really notable.
And that's the
The
thing. Like,
first
what
time I fought a Hinox though was up there for me because it was like I'm fighting a giant troll.
and
Like,
that kind of goes
it
back
was
to my
great.
like the dungeons of personality. Like that's the thing I didn't like about the final bosses of each of the divine
I
beasts.
I agree with you there. It's
You
just
know,
the same,
yeah,
kind of the samey kind of
yeah.
thing.
Like I wish there was like kind of a uniqueness to it or something. Like I don't know. There's just instead of like this black, I don't know what is it, black ghost thing. You know.
With his cool blue eye looking at you.
um, but as far as like, I mean, honestly, I mean, I guess I mean the best fight. I can't. really think of anything
Yeah.
that strikes me. I mean, honestly, the last battle, like I guess, would be the only thing I would have to say.
Was there a cool thing that you discovered? Like one of those things, like I was telling you, and I'll just quickly say, like finding the dragon, Laneru, Laneru, Laneru.
Hmm.
Oh no, wait, that's the name of the mountain, and the dragon's name is Nadra. And curing it from the calamity, like that, like just climbing a mountain and all of a sudden like stumbling upon this awesome sequence.
I like
That
stumbling
was
upon the little town they had to rebuild. Like I thought that,
Terrytown.
yeah, I
Yes.
didn't finish rebuilding it, but I was really excited to see that kind of callback to
Hmm.
Terrytown and just like the little reference there. Um,
What is that in reference to?
well, I just kind of it made me think of just like what's his name, the farm from the farm from Ocarina of Time with the
Oh,
cows.
Lon Lon Ranch.
Yeah, I don't know. This made me think of that for some reason. Maybe it's not even that, but that's the vibe I got when I went there. Um,
Okay.
but I guess I don't really have a specific thing that was surprising. It's been too long for me. I'm sorry. It's been too long.
and,
but
and I'm like, what was your favorite Deku upgrade that you got? Like, I'm getting all.
um,
Tell me, what was it? Was it a moving? Was it as moving for you as it was for me when you when you found the Master Sword?
of course, yeah. Oh no, that was
Like,
my whole goal of this game was to find it.
I
That's
know. Like, I'm like, I gotta try. I gotta try. I gotta find this Master
did
Sword.
you get the green tunic though?
No,
You can get the green
no,
tunic somehow.
you
I don't know.
can.
I don't know where it is. I just know you can. Your next thing you're
Also,
gonna
by the way, one of
do.
the mountains is named Satori, and I think it's after that little cafe that we used to frequent back in
Oh
Utica.
jeez, that was a good cafe.
Cafe Satori. Shout out, the first and only vegan restaurant in Utica. They didn't last. I'm sure there's others now, but
But I mean, there's like the game. The one thing I'll say, like, I'm just trying to remember back to a lot of the things about the game. There's a lot of side things you could do. Like, you have the camera where you can scan things and collect all that. Like, so many collectibles and so many things to kind of grab. And like, you have your memories. You have all the different recipes to look up. I think people were still finding little secrets like years and years later. I feel like there's probably still more out there that no one's found. But like just stumbling upon like random monsters. Like I think the first thing I remember just like walking up a hill and I just saw the big ogre thing with the belt
yep.
with the ball. I never fought one. I was always afraid to. I was like I don't want to do this right now. I'm scared. Like I'm not ready for this. Because like I'd always run into it like oh man my weapons are about to break and I'm like I don't want to do this right now or like but like
Oh my god, weapon hoarding.
like what
Like,
weapons never bothered me. I don't know. People would complain. That's like probably the biggest complaint I hear from people is the weapon breaking, and I like it. I
oh
think it's fun.
yeah, I think it's a great mechanic. I think it's a very realistic, and I love that even the Master Sword has like a recharge time on it. Like
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I've never had a problem with that. And I love having like different weapons for different jobs and for different purposes. Some aren't even used for like the carrying the Korok or the Deku leaf. It's not. I'm not going to hit anything with it. I just carry it in case I find a raft. You know, or I carry like a flame sword because I just want something to start a fire, not necessarily because I want to fight with it, but I just want to have something that could start a fire for me if I need to start a campfire. Like those kinds of things. Like the way that you can play this game, as you said from the very beginning, everybody plays this game differently.
hmm
Um, and I think that's just what makes it so replayable. And I don't see a point really where I'm just going to be like, yeah, I've done everything, and I don't really want to play this game anymore. I feel like there's
would you
still so
start it
much
over?
more. I'm not ready to answer that question yet. Still too early for me. Did you buy your? Did you like? Honestly, because one of the things that I really loved about this was getting my own house. Did
Yeah, I
you
didn't know that.
manage to do that? You can display your swords and shields and bows on the
Oh,
wall.
I did
So
this. I did that. I
I have
did do
like
that.
my best stuff in there.
Isn't that like
It's
a
like,
side
oh,
quest where you have to like cut a bunch of wood or something, and then eventually you get a house?
yep, yep. It's the guy that who eventually goes and builds Terrytown. He'll, I think that's the same people.
Yeah,
They like,
I did start doing that. And I think I hung up something in the house. it just I feel like that my game that I had I don't have anymore. It was on my Wii U, so like it's like
Oh,
that's like I
you
think
got to
that
start it over, man.
I know,
Got to
and
start it
I've
over.
tried. I got the Switch. You have my copy, so like
You mean this?
yeah.
Don't you wish you had it? I'll put this in the mail.
Okay. All right.
Finally.
I got plenty of things to do and play, but no, it's a great game. But the I'm just gonna repeat what you're saying, so I don't really have much else to
Okay.
add to it, to be
I
honest.
really, I do really like. I agree with what you said before. I feel like this is the best iteration of Hyrule there's been. I love that you can still bomb
It's funny.
caves and
It,
discover holes in
it's
caves.
funny.
Like,
It's the best iteration of Hyrule, and it's destroyed.
yep. Hey, remember when we talked about the original Zelda? We're like, what kind of terrible world is this? Every human lives in a cave underground. The world
There
is
is
overrun with monsters.
there is no Hyrule. Like, who? Where are the villagers?
Yeah, they're all either dead or in caves, and they gouge the shit out of the prices for everything. They're terrible people. These Hyruleans
Yeah,
or
most of
Hylians.
like the Hyruleans just live in little camps. I mean, you think about it, they don't really have like a society. They don't live in like
No,
the
there's no like city like Hyrule Castle is destroyed. So like the Rudo have theirs still. You know the Goron, the Gerudo, they have their own places,
yeah
but
they got
Hylian
they handle that
Hylians don't
calamity
have
pretty
anything.
well. I mean, man, Hyrule just got sucked, I guess. Of
Yep.
course, they did attack the castle, I guess, and all that jazz. So I guess my last question before we end the show, and unless you want to continue to gush about Breath of the Wild, is we kind of talked about this earlier, but what is your hope for Breath of the Wild 2? What do you want to see? What do you want the story to be? Have you seen the trailer, the only one little 1 minute trailer that they shared with us on this?
No, no, I haven't yet. And um, what I okay, so I remember we kind of talked about Demise. I feel like he'd be a good addition to this, only because I really like the design of that character and like him as the idea of like the original evil, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the thing that spawns Ganon or becomes Ganon. And I don't know. I'd be interested to see like how they would loop that in with the lore. And honestly, those are the two best things from Skyward Sword: is Demise and the dude who was the bad guy for the whole game, who Demise killed at the very end, the one he pulled the sword out of him.
Yeah,
I
I can't
love that
remember his name.
moment. That's like honestly the best part of Breath of the Wild. But something like that, where it's like a non-Ganon villain, which they've done in other games, you know, it's like sort of evil wizardy something, but then
Ganon's always connected though.
and then Ganon is always like pulling the strings in the end. I would also like to see Puppet Ganon in this one. No, I don't really care. I just wanted to mention Puppet Ganon, but I think um, more of this, more refining of the crafting, the cooking, and the monster parts. I'm sure that's all coming in the works. Uh, I guess I'd like to see, I guess, smarter enemies a little bit.
Okay.
Like the Lionels are pretty smart, and they follow you, and they kind of, they're really relentless.
Zelda's never been known for smart enemies though. You know,
No,
it's
but I'm thinking more of like I guess more of what you were saying in terms of like
I want big boss
maybe
fights.
dungeons. Yeah, like enemies of challenge, like of like really
No,
that like take
like
you a couple days to figure out how to beat.
yeah, like kind of like Shadow of the Colossus kind of vibe. You know, it's
Yeah,
like I mean, like you gotta think like those final bosses in those games. Like there's only one of those. You don't find again. Like that's
yep,
what I'm missing. It's like okay, well you find these crazy hard things to fight, but then there's another one somewhere else where I kind of want that uniqueness to happen. Like it's like oh, this is a gigantic dragon, and we're gonna put bombs in his mouth, and we're gonna dodge, and we're gonna jump on his
yep.
back, and we're gonna stab him in the head. Like I mean, like that's what I want to see in this game. I don't know if it's possible. Maybe it is, but
I
like,
want more dragons. I want more dragons too. More dragons, like six
do you
more.
think we'll actually go to
Um,
a different continent? Do you think they'll do that?
that might be interesting. That might be interesting.
Just take a
And hey,
raft,
they could draw on. There's plenty of Zelda lore of other places besides
go on
Hyrule.
a
They could
raft,
always.
and just go across
Yeah,
the waters, and then Link Awakening's remake happens, and
they already did that with that Eventide Island in there. It's like the game in miniature. Um, but I like that idea of maybe a different continent, different place, and like more difficult, um, bigger, badder enemies. I'd also I, I got to tell you, I breathed such a sigh of relief when I realized I didn't have to fight the dragons in this game because like the fact that they're just like a natural part of this world is really cool in
hmm
and of itself. And it was a hell of a relief, and I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to fight these things because it was like, but maybe you'll have like corrupted dragons that you will have to fight, and then you'll have like a more of a
this is where we
Shadow of the Colossus
get.
kind of fight with like in the
Yeah.
sky, where you're um,
Well, that's what
flying
I
around
want,
holding on, trying to destroy this thing.
and that's the thing. What would they have to make? They have to make some sort of dungeon. What would they be? Because you don't have the divine beast to do again. So it's
Yep.
like I'm wondering what would that be. A lot of the rumors that are for the game though is like that Zelda might be a playable character. It might be co-op. Like I don't know if I want that in a Zelda game though.
If I no, no, I
Yeah,
don't want that.
yeah, I don't want that either. I don't mind me playing a Zelda
No,
if that's an option.
if it's like kind of like I forget what game I'm thinking of, but like where you could play certain missions as a different character, but
hmm
then like your main quest is still your main quest. Kind of like the Batman games where you do like the little Robin side quest,
Yeah.
like the Arkham series. You can't unless you be in the game or unlock the skill
Or
or
it'd be
whatever. You
cool if like
can't
you're
be
always
Robin.
Link, but Zelda's always with you, and she does some sort of like a kind of like God of the War, where Artreya is with you.
Oh, Atreus is like and she gets better at fighting as you go along.
Sure,
Her
yeah,
powers get stronger.
yeah.
Hell,
She
yeah, I'll take that.
eventually get light
I'd take that.
arrows and all that stuff too.
As
Just
long as the
then you
banter is
find
at
this
a minimum.
artifact that turns it to look like Wind Waker. It'd be great. Just all of a sudden it looks like a better game. That's all. Just kidding, joking. But anyways.
It just turns into cell shading. Like that'd be good if they did like a Spider Verse of Zelda games, where all of them just kind of mixed together.
That's Hyrule Warriors.
Well,
But
with that, Justin, is there anything that you're especially looking forward to in the sequel?
again, like we said, just the bigger bosses. I'm not sure what else I would want. I mean, maybe some magic or like different like abilities or like uniquer
Okay.
items. I guess like like the hook shot. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Something like that because like I feel like that's the only thing that didn't get like you got like to be able to hold items and stuff. You get boomerangs, but you couldn't make it a secondary item. Like you always had to like switch it for that. So like I'd love to have like that special cool item. Like oh you found the boots, so like you can go in the water now. Like they
Yep.
kind of gave you that
Yep.
really fast in this game, where I liked finding that special item a little
No,
bit
it's a
more often.
really interesting choice to give you like what was it, 4 out of the 5 or 5 out of the 6 of the special things you can do like right off the bat. Um, but I remember in our favorite Zelda game conversation, and I will echo it here, the idea of like the left hand, and the right hand, like not always having the shield, but like having a secondary weapon like the boomerang in one hand and the sword.
Yeah,
That would be really cool too.
yeah, like
I'm sure that some of these things they've thought of already. But so after we turn this off, I'm going to go and look into the Breath of the Wild sequel in depth here and
there
see
isn't
this
much.
1 minute trailer.
It literally was released like 2 years ago, and it's just like
Okay,
Zelda and Link going into a cave and finding a corpse. That's all it is.
finding a corpse.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, all right. Sounds good.
sounds
Sounds
great.
good. Well, Justin, this has been extremely fun and a trip down. I won't say memory lane. A trip down current lane.
My lane, my memory lane.
Your memory lane. I can't wait to. Now I just want to plug it in and play it right now. I'm just going to pick it up
So do
and go
I.
climb a mountain.
I'd love to do that.
Climb to the top of Mount Satori. You'll find something there at night. See, this is how you pass information off to other people. I find something really special on top of Mount Satori at night.
Okay, I'll check it out when I can play my game. It's cool.
Not every night. Okay, I'll get it in the mail. Well, Justin, this has been the Playing Favorites bonus episode for the month of January, our first one of 2021. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Do it again next time.